big event. When you see me on the news, you don't know who I am. You're all going to die.
February 14, 2018 was an ordinary day at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Students exchanged cards and chocolates for Valentine's Day, and classes continued. But around 2:19 p.m., a black Uber vehicle approached the school, foreshadowing the day would turn into an unforgettable tragedy. Nikolas Cruz, 19, got out of the car and headed toward the school campus, carrying a black backpack and a holster. This was Cruz's old school. He had been expelled a few months earlier for disciplinary problems. He knew the buildings, the cameras, the location of the classrooms. He had already determined his target. He carried ammunition in his backpack and death in his holster, an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle. As he entered the campus, Cruz even greeted a student he encountered in the hallway. Then he stepped into the school building and, without blinking, pulled the fire alarm. His plan was simple, yet deadly. When the alarm went off, students would rush out of their classrooms, the hallways would fill with people, and he would unleash a storm of bullets into the crowd. And indeed, that's what happened. The alarm went off. Students, mistaking it for a possible drill or a fire, began to leave their classrooms. At that very moment, Cruz pulled out his gun and began firing, not randomly, but deliberately. The first bullets filled the hallway on the school's third floor. Students fled in panic, some collapsing before realizing what had happened. Within seconds, the hallway was a bloodbath. Cruz moved like a professional soldier. He was fast, determined, and didn't even blink. He had specific targets on each floor. He fired at the doors of some classrooms, shooting students in the back as they fled. He knocked down several students waiting outside the gym with a single blow. The moment was captured on the school's security cameras. Students running, falling, screaming, and a cascade of gunshots. As students ran to their classrooms, teachers tried to lock the doors and push desks against them. Some hid children in lockers, others suggested jumping from windows. Geography teacher Scott Beigel was shot in the back as he ushered his students into the classroom. Athletic coach Aaron Feist stepped in front of a student to provide cover. He was killed. The hallways echoed with explosions amidst the silence. 17 people were killed in this 6-minute massacre, and another 17 were seriously injured. The attack lasted only minutes, but for everyone at the school, those minutes felt like an eternity. Students watched their friends being shot, some jumping over the lifeless bodies on the ground to escape. One student testified, "I saw my friend walking next to me suddenly fall to the ground. He had been shot in the head. I was stunned. At that moment, I didn't even think about running away." After the attack,
we're
Cruz
now learning
abandoned
more
his
about the
gun and
timeline of
ammunition
Cruz's
bag. He had
murderous
changed his
rampage.
clothes.
28,
He walked out with the other students, as if he too had been among those fleeing. He blended in with the crowd and fled the area. He went first to a Walmart, then to a nearby McDonald's. He appeared calm. Around 3:40 p.m., he was spotted by police walking along a suburban street. He surrendered without resistance. During his interrogation, he confessed everything. He said he had planned the attack, had been thinking about it for a long time after being expelled from school, and had prepared by watching videos of the attack on social media. Nikolas Cruz's past revealed how he was led to this attack. He was adopted at a young age. After his mother's death, he suffered a major psychological breakdown. He had tantrums, harmed animals, and developed an intense interest in guns. He had contacted the police several times before, and even reported to the FBI that Cruz would commit a school shooting one day. But these reports were not taken seriously enough. Following the attack, a wave of anger swept across America. Surviving students spoke to cameras, demanding accountability from authorities. They shouted, "Why didn't you protect us?" Students and families launched a massive March for Our Lives movement. Hundreds of thousands marched in Washington, D.C., demanding tightened gun laws, a ban on assault weapons, and increased license checks. Nikolas Cruz's trial was also highly contentious. Prosecutors sought the death penalty for him, but the jurors were unanimous. In 2022, Cruz was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Families of the victims tearfully confronted him in the courtroom. One father said, "You killed my daughter's dreams. I will never forgive you." But this attack profoundly shook not only the lives of 17 people, but also the security of an entire country. Active attack drills are being conducted in nearly every school in America today. Metal detectors, security guards, and camera systems are everywhere. But all these measures have not been enough to bring back the lives lost in Parkland. The Parkland shooting has once again raised the question, how could an individual so easily obtain a weapon, enter a school, and kill children? The answer to that question remains unclear. But one thing is certain, the events of that day have never been forgotten, and they should never be forgotten.